All right, so kind of switched up the schedule a little bit. So we're going to go with Bartow next. Bartow Yellow Jackets. Coach, can you introduce yourself for our audience and also introduce the players that you brought with you today?
Absolutely. My name is Tyler Eden. I'm the head football coach here at Bartow, going into my second season. I also quickly want to acknowledge the coaches that are here. John Chai, our offensive coordinator, Jamal Johnson, our defensive coordinator, and Coach Flo, our strength coach. Player-wise, you want me to introduce them or do you want them to?
They can introduce.
I'll let them go ahead, starting from left to right.
Avis Brown, class 25 running back.
Sir.
Corey Butler, class 2025 wide receiver. Isaac Jackson, linebacker, class 25. Kamari Thomas, class 25 wide receiver. Tavares Murray, class 2025 DB. Corian Stanley, class 2025 linebacker. Jashad Hampton, 2025 corner.
All right, Coach, you decided to bring these players with you to represent the program today. Can you talk about each one of them briefly for our audience, what they bring to your program from a character and athletic standpoint, and what college coaches can expect to see out of each once they stop by and visit your program this spring?
Absolutely, and I want to acknowledge that there were several others that I could have chosen. The 6 that I chose are obviously very special, but I feel like we have a roster full of very talented players. And all of them are seniors, and so that was one of the qualifications for this media day. We also have several great other seniors, great juniors, great sophomores. We have a lot of talent at Bartow. So first and foremost, college coaches are going to get talented players. But just speaking quickly on each one of their character, and I would say this covers all of them. They've all developed, especially this spring, with the addition of Coach Flo and some of the structure that we've put in place. They've all developed a great work ethic. There's not one guy in here that hasn't sought me out to get extra work, that hasn't put in extra time with Coach Flo or myself in the weight room or on the field. And so they're going to get a great work ethic. They've really grown as far as just their discipline. And not saying that they were undisciplined, but just the being on time, doing the little things correctly, and that's a huge thing because, again, everything matters, especially when you go up to the next level. So Avis, again, just great work ethic, humble, hardworking. Corey, dynamic personality, great leader, hard worker. Isaac, again, humble, hard worker, going to get the job done. Cam, super confident in his abilities, and rightfully so. He's tough as nails. He'll run through a brick wall. In fact, he ran over a kid last year so hard that he knocked him out of the game. Tavares Murray, just everything you'd want to build a program around as far as just his mentality, work ethic. Corian Stanley, the best linebacker in this class, without a doubt, in this grade. And Jashad Hampton, best cover corner in Polk County. And again, all of them are hardworking, and all of them have grown in their discipline as well.
This next question is for all the players individually. What are some of your individual goals that you hope to accomplish this spring, and what are some of the team goals that you hope to see you guys reach to kind of make that next step forward as a program?
This season, I feel like for me, it's like more than like 7 interceptions. For the team goal, I feel like everybody just change the culture, build something new at the school, just be on top of everybody. Personal goals, I just want to build a better, better self, grow as a man, become a man. And for the team, we want to make the playoff, win, go to the Super Bowl, championship.
We jump to the NFL.
My personal goal is to break that interception record this season.
What is it?
I think it's 10.
Yeah, 10 in one season.
Okay.
And team goal, I don't see us become more together as a family, build a bond and win, of course.
It's worth noting quickly too that he's closing in on the career record.
What is that number?
I don't know that one off the top of my head, but he had 6 and 6, and so he's approaching it.
My personal goal is to have over 1,500 all-purpose yards, and the team goal is just to win.
My personal goal is just grow as a man, become a better leader for the team. And team goal, get a district championship. And that's it.
My personal goal is at least have a season of 500 more yards, and for me, just better myself as a person, and that'll help my team out. You feel me? Like build a bond around them, family.
My personal goal is to have 2,000 yards in rushing this season. Just taking one game at a time as a team. We know where we're going to be.
Coach, what was the biggest challenge you felt like you faced last fall in your first year that you're looking to overcome starting this spring and just returning with the players?
Just discipline, structure, right? So, I mean, I hit the ground running, got here the day before we started practice. There are several people on the staff that we either had or don't have now, or we didn't have that we do have now. I think just getting that in place. I mean, overall structure, right? So having the right staff, having the right system, and it's trial and error, so it takes time. But I think after a full season, I think we were able to kind of see, okay, this worked, let's keep this. This didn't work, this needs to be addressed, and then adding some key components and pieces to that. But yeah, I think now that once we're able to have a full season with the new structures that we put in place, I think I have no doubt that will translate into even more success for our team.
A question I've been asking a lot of the coaches. The college transfer portal has been a topic of conversation since it's been implemented because of its effect on high school recruiting. What has been your message to your players about how to navigate this new era of college recruiting?
Just work hard. Just work hard. Keep doing everything right. Okay, we are a program that's built on faith, so we just say put God first, you'll never be last. So we work hard, do your job, and make yourself the absolute most marketable. We heard head football coach here at Warner give our student athletes a talking to earlier, a presentation, and I think just reiterating what he said, right? Like make sure that your academics are where they need to be. Okay, make sure that you're doing everything right. Because you're not just competing now against other high schoolers, you're competing against grown men that are in the transfer portal. Now, I'm not a fan of it. I don't like the transfer portal for these young men, but at the end of the day, we live in the time we do. It is what it is, and so they're going to have to work a little harder, but ultimately I think they'll be better for it. And when they get their opportunity, make the most of it. I've known several players that were Division II guys. I coached against one up in Ohio. He was a Division II player, ended up going to he's at Texas A&M right now, Jade Walker. So, and even one of our coaches, Coach Johnson, who's our defensive coordinator, started out at a JUCO, ended up in the SEC at Mississippi State. So, where you go is not necessarily where you're going to end up. And so, but the biggest thing is, are we preparing these young men to have the habits that are going to be able to, because your talent will get you there, but your character will keep you there or get you further. And so, are we preparing them academically in their character and as a football player to make sure that they do make the most of it and then have further and further opportunities down the road?
You can answer this question. Players can answer this question. Both can if you want. You guys at the beginning of last season were one of the tops of the county with that start that you guys had. And then towards the end, it kind of trailed off and things kind of went off the rails. What have you learned from that, and what is your plan heading into this spring to prevent that from happening with this upcoming season?
I'm going to start, and then I want the players to answer too. But I'm going to keep it brief. The first thing is, I want to make sure we preface that by saying Bartow has had one winning season in football in the last 13 years. And so for us, this was a culture shift, right? So it's not just about, we're not coming into somewhere where they're used to winning in past. A long time ago maybe, but one season in 13 years. The first back-to-back winning season, or the last one they had, was in 05-06. So if we do that, that's something that hasn't been done in 18 years, to have 2 winning seasons, right? So the fact that we were able to come in as late as I did, with all the moving pieces and parts, for us to have a winning season, win a postseason football game, first time in 17 years, I count that as a huge success, and it's a credit to these young men. Now, kind of going back to what you asked me first, what would I change? Well, it's the structure, it's the discipline, it's making sure that guys are doing what they need to do. And I'm going to be very honest, we all knew that offensively we needed to improve, and so I went out and got us one of the best, if not, in my opinion, the best offensive coordinator available. And I'm excited I've gotten now to watch him work with our guys and how they've responded and what we look like. I think it's going to be very, very fun and exciting football. So, and then of course our defense was great, and we also went out and made sure we hired a strength coach, somebody who could really get our young men developed physically and in shape and mentally. And so I think, again, the talent is there. It showed by the wins, and the structure was halfway put in place. I think now we've taken steps to, again, ensure that everything that wasn't working will be working. I want to make sure they have an opportunity to answer that as well.
Going back to what Coach is saying, I feel like at the middle of the season, we didn't have enough leadership. This year we're going to have leadership, changing the culture all the way around. And going back from the middle of the season, I feel like we got to change everything from culture, community, everything, just changing everything up and building bonds with our coaches and everybody.
I feel that after the middle of the season that we had got too comfortable, I would say that we need to stay hungry because we got too satisfied with our success, and it showed later on. And yeah, that's it.
And just to finish off that too, that's in no way is that a slight to the 20-something seniors that we just had. They did a great job, given what the circumstances were. But with that said, culture takes time, and it takes constant repetition and accountability. And so now we've had more time to do that. And so I just think that these young men will be a better reflection of what Bartow football will be as we continue to progress forward. Those young men last year helped establish it, because again, it takes a lot when you're not a winning program, to win, it's hard. So for them to have a winning season, to win in the postseason, and let's be honest, run into the state champion and not play our best game, right? They played a good game, they are the champions, good, but it took that to knock us out of the postseason. And so for us, I think there's so much to build on, to where now we put the right structures in place and have the right pieces as far as coaches and culture in place. I think that down the road and ultimately in the long run, the trajectory is very, very high for Bartow football.
Coach. Looking at the schedule, you guys may be fortunate compared to other Polk County schools. It sounds like a lot of coaches are having difficulties putting together their schedule. What's the formula to get a schedule put together so early?
Being a really good talker. You just gotta be on it, right? I like to get things done early. I like to work ahead of time, and I have a staff that is the same. We meet constantly, and we're constantly trying to make sure that everything is in place and structures are in place. And so, schedule-wise, we're fortunate. We were able to lock in a schedule. The district is a little strange, being in a Tampa district, but we're excited to represent Polk County out there and do our job. And so, you got some really good challenges on there. Bishop Moore is a really great program, year in and year out. Got some good in-county rivalries, and then of course Durant, who's a very, very good program year in and year out in the district. But schedule-wise, that was all it was. It was just working ahead of time, making phone calls.
Were you a fan that they scrapped Metro Suburban, or were you the other way?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I think Metro Suburban should have stayed, but that's not my decision. I thought it was good for the sport, but at the end of the day, whoever we line up against, we're ready to compete and do our best to win.
Big topic of discussion about numerous head coaches is question about some talk about Polk County kids in college leaving after a year. Obviously, a lot of varying opinions. You being somebody that is active social media-wise, what is your opinion? What's your opinion on people kind of saying kids are going to college and they're leaving after 1 year and they're specifically from a certain area?
Yeah, well, I don't think that's indicative of all Polk County teams and kids. I think that there is a culture that has been established here, and I'm not from here, so objectively speaking, I come from Northeast Ohio, where we have a lot of talent there as well, but I think this is an area where it's heavily talent enriched. But if I'm being objective and I'm being honest, if I look at it, I think there is a culture where too much of the time we don't hold young men accountable, and therefore it allows them to develop really bad habits. And so then when they go off to school, and not all of them, by the way, there's several that are performing really well from Polk County, that are representing Polk County really well. But sometimes when you have that and you don't kind of help develop them as a young man, what can happen is what you see. And that is even a coach like Deion Sanders now is unable, okay, to maximize the talent that we have on the field. And it's just not going to work. So I hope that those young men do find the right situation, that they are able to find success, because their talent is, of course, really impressive. But that's what I've challenged these guys, is to change that narrative, right? Make sure that when coaches come, they do see discipline, they do see great structure, and they do see kids that work really hard, that stick together, that have that it factor, right? And so I just think, again, if we're looking at it from a big picture, I don't think it's everywhere and every kid. Of course not. There's great kids here. But I do think that part of the problem has been what has worked in high school doesn't work in college. And so when you do things where you have, you know, where you have a game, let's just say and I'm not going to say anything, but where you have a game where you have maybe you win the game by 20 or 30, but you have 150 yards in personal fouls, you're ripping your helmet off and talking noise to the sideline or whatever, that's not going to get you where you really want to go. And so again, you've got to hold kids accountable and look at the bigger picture as a coach and say, am I all about winning, which we want to win, or am I about the development of student athletes and young men? And so that's where, again, you got to make that decision. And I know we have, and I know we're fortunate where we have very talented young men who want to be great young men as well.
Off-season talk of NIL discussions going on and moving in that direction. So much more of a not if or when that'll happen. I mean, what's your thoughts on it, and just, Bartow's participation in that?
It's the world we live in. I don't know yet. I got to look at the rules and the procedures. If I could, of course, I'd give all these young men $1 million, but I don't have it. I'd like coaches to get paid too. I'm going to throw that in there as well. At least minimum wage, that would be great. Now, I love my job, so I'm not saying that I wouldn't do it for free, but at the end of the day, these are men that do sacrifice a lot. They have families. They don't get to spend a lot of time with them, especially during the season. And so I'd like to see that happen. I also would like to, of course, see young men be able to go sign autographs for kids in the community or have their own football camp and things like that. Now, as far as Bartow Ford giving them a new truck, I don't know if that's going to happen. What I can say is I don't like some of the rules that go with it, because you got to look at the details. They say that let's say that if a company like Bartow Ford gives to a player, they are now disconnected from all of Bartow High School. They can't give a cent to the high school for anything, prom, graduation, football. So basically, we're going to have to really look at that and make sure that, how to do it correctly, I guess is what I would say.
And then being from Northeast Ohio, and then seeing Florida, and then the ever-changing landscape over this off-season, probably the most I've seen in my coverage time. How much has it been for you, just trying to manage and see everything you do, and then trying to, run the football team, put together a schedule, bring in new staff members, and pay attention to everything that the FHSA and, the state is doing?
Yeah, it's a lot. And that goes back to why I said I think coaches should get a little bit more. And again, not to be greedy, just saying, at least be a fairly compensated job, right? Because it's a lot. I don't think people understand that. I think that they look at us and they just think, they just roll the ball out and let the kids play and barbaric and whatnot. But it's a lot. You have to be organized. You have to be strategic. You have to be structured. You have to relate to your players. You have to spend time building relationships with them. Again, this is not just about winning and losing games. It's about developing young men. This is about helping them. You gotta be reaching out to colleges. You have to put in the hours to go through the spreadsheets that Hassani makes and send your prospect lists out and call coaches and take kids to camps and do all these things. So, it's no different anywhere you go. Florida's, the only thing that makes it a little bit different here is I think it's just a little bit more, right? There's just a little bit more energy and attention that you have to put in.
My last question, thinking about when you first came in, I think one of your themes and messages was getting the hometown Bartow guys that were spread out across the county to come back to Bartow and help change the direction of the program. And it looked like that essentially that worked. Going into your second year, having that momentum off of that, and then also now getting some kids who are now looking at Bartow and saying, hey, that might be a place for me to come, finish my career at. What do you feel like is your goal as you head into the second year for the Bartow program that folks should know about?
I want to answer now. I'd love to just open it up if they have anything to add, but win. Just win. We have a saying, win today. It's on the back of the shirts, win today. I've been able now that I've been here for a year to learn from a lot of great coaches. I've mentioned Danny Smith in the past, who won the '96 state championship, but I also got to learn from a guy like Terrence McGriff, who runs the basketball program, 3-time state champion, Hall of Famer. And one thing we talked about was you want to have a program where you're always giving yourself a chance. And what he means by that is if we're always this year we made it to the second round. Or last year we made it to the second round. This year we might make it to the 5th round, right? But how you do that is you get yourself in the dance. And so if we're always a team that's in the dance, that's winning in the postseason, that's competing, that's giving ourselves an opportunity to get lucky, because you don't win a championship without some luck and favor. But you slide, you have a great run and you make it all the way, then that's great. But my goal for the program is win, be a winner. Produce a winning behavior, effort, practice, game, class ethic, work ethic, home life, whatever it is. If you do that, all of that translates to being a winner on the field. And then you win enough games, you get in the playoffs, then you get on a roll and you start winning in the playoffs. Okay? But you can't do that if you don't put yourself in a position to. And so we do a good job, I think, and I think that they're starting to understand that takes a lot of work just to get to the dance. And then if you have a season where you get an awesome opportunity to go further, then it's a blessing. But again, the biggest thing for me is, since not having a winning season back-to-back years at Bartow, since some of these young men were born, winning would be everything. Just produce a winning season, get back to the postseason, and let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can keep stacking wins and go on a run. So,
I feel like this year we gotta trust the process. My goal for this year is make it to 4th round, really state for me. With my senior, I'm going all out. Top safety, all that.
This year, I know we all want to win, of course, but really, I think for us as seniors is to leave a legacy, leave something behind for the younger people. You feel me? When they come up, they already know what it take to get there. You feel me? Just basically letting them know what it is.
My goal for this season, upcoming season, is win the district championship. Since I've been here, we haven't won. So I just want to win the district championship, go all the way in my senior year, leave a legacy.
I think all of that was really good, and I do want to make that a very clear point. District championships first. We all want to make a run, and number one, it all starts with winning and leaving that legacy of winning and being a winner. But a district championship is tangible. That's the first goal we set, because we had it last year. We let it slip through our grasp. So, district championship will be first in 27 years.
And do you have any final words that you'd like to leave fans or college coaches of what they can look out for from your program this upcoming spring?
I'll tell you, I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to let the players do it real quick, because they have a couple things they want to say now. So.
Way I'm feeling this year, we coming. We ain't playing no games with nobody, we coming. Like you said, bro, we coming back. Coming for it all.
What I want to say, we got some dogs. Come get us. We going all the way.
And stop sleeping on all of us, for real. We like that.
Yeah, we got them boys over here, offense, defense. Any grade you want, 27 to 25, what you want, you got it. Come over.
When those lights come on Friday night, bring y'all popcorn, it's gonna be a movie.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't know if I can even say anything better than that, but at the end of the day, we're hungry. We've worked really hard. We're going to continue to work really hard to put ourselves in a position, like these young men said, to win, to leave a legacy. okay? Because we know that we don't just represent ourselves, we represent this community, and it's a very special community and a very special place, okay? So we want to make sure that Bartow has the absolute best home of champions. So, to way or no way, thank you for having us.
No problem. Thank you for coming, Coach.
Yes, sir.